Welcome to the Designated Drinker Show, the podcast that's raising the bar on craft cocktails. I am your host, Louise Solis, and with me is my very talented friend, the mothers of all mothers, the mixtress, DC Gina.
Louise.
Hi, lovely.
It's real hot where I am right now, in case you can't tell by my red face.
Well, your hair is appropriately placed then, all up and off in the neck.
I stuck it in a 3-compartment sink and pulled it back.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
I mean, as long as I'm not taking off my pants, I feel like it's still HR appropriate. Moving on.
Well, the good thing is we can't see you below the bar, so it doesn't matter. You could have no pantalones on and we would be none the wiser.
That's the next episode.
It's a whole nother kind of show.
It is.
This is a special episode, so let's start talking about mothers, shall we? Mm-hmm. So I found that Time magazine reported on our country's top searched Mother's Day's gift in 2020, and they did it state by state. And according to them, the Forever Heart necklace was the most popular gift idea in Ohio. Here in DC, it was chocolate-covered strawberries and chocolate gift baskets in Mississippi, an edible fruit arrangement in Oregon. Now, some other states went a different direction altogether, and I'm going to call them more practical gifts. And I couldn't imagine ever getting these for my mother. In New Jersey, they often searched for fitness trackers. It was the bike cruisers in Arizona. And in North Dakota, good old North Dakota, healthy cookbooks.
That's nice. What do you get in New York?
Well, I don't know, but here's some other unusual ones. Money. Here's the unusual ones. Connecticut, close to New York, Connecticut, top item searched, garden animal statues.
That would have been my mother. My mother would have had like some sort of fairy angel wing chime thing.
Well, you probably inspired that because her angel was here in DC, in Pennsylvania. I don't even understand this one. Sheepskin pillows. And Wyoming, apparently, people like tea infusers. I will say
I will not be visiting Wyoming. From there, please tune in.
So I've never got my mother any of those gifts. Have you received any of those as a mother or given those to mothers?
No. What I would like, I'll tell you, here's my advice to everybody listening. If you want to give your mother or your spouse, it's your wife, a gift, it is the gift of taking your children someplace far, far away for the entire day and returning the following day with that piece of cake or something that you thought was your offering. And it sounds great. That is what Mother's Day, right? To me, sounds perfect.
I hope Neil's listening.
He knows my stance on how much I like my children. I love them, but I don't have to like them.
Exactly. Not every day. So, like I said, this is a special episode. Just like mothers, it's very special. And I'd like to call it the Mother Epi-ing Hijackers episode. Why? Because we have two very special hardworking mothers who I know are just going to drive this right off the rails, and I'm going to sit alongside and enjoy every minute of it. So let's introduce today's designated drinker that's going to help Gina do this. She is the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of Sunnyside Restaurant Group. She is also a hardworking mother, just like Gina. Micheline Mendelsohn, welcome to the show.
Hey, ladies. Thanks for having me.
Hi.
Absolutely. So how do you guys know each other?
That's a great question. I feel like we've known each other forever.
Yeah, like kindred spirits, really.
Kindred spirits. Go ahead.
We met at Micheline had a restaurant on Pennsylvania Avenue, Bernays, and we met at the bar when on opening night for the first time, and she was like, "How don't we know each other?
Yeah,
let's know each other."
Instant connections where I thought, I need to know this woman now for the rest of my life.
And I don't normally get picked up in a bar, but I loved it.
I do my best work at a bar.
It was one of those things where you just know that you meet somebody and you just click, right? So you never know when you're going to have someone come into your life. Everyone says they meet their best friends when they're little or they went to college with them, but you're not really sure because your people come in different times. And Mish and I have been together now. Bernays when did you open that? 2010?
No, it's been 6 years.
6 years was.
Yeah, I opened it 6 years ago.
Really?
I've closed it since, but yeah, it's been.
It's only. It feels like for a lifetime. I thought it was longer, honestly.
Well, it felt like a lifetime, which is why I had to close it.
Okay.
So you guys met. It's before you had kids, though, Gina, right?
Yeah. Like I rode a bike.
Yeah.
I rode a bike and tried desperately not to get a BWI driving it. I mean,
Yeah, I think you can still ride a bike after you have children. I haven't done it, but I think physically you're still capable, just so you know.
I know. I used to walk it
That's
home.
good
I used to
to
walk
know.
my bike home on the hill because I used to live on the hill at that time where Renee's was in Capitol Hill in DC, in Washington, DC. So
I opened that restaurant, and a year and a half into it, I got pregnant with my third.
Wow.
And that restaurant is a testament to not being able to have 3 children and run a fine dining restaurant. I was dying. And so we ended up having to close it. But it worked out great because I opened a taqueria in that space instead. So we serve authentic Mexican food. And Gina came on board and has made all our margaritas for us.
I did. We have a working relationship, really. But wait, I want to talk about this. So what do you have questions, Louise, before I hijack the show? Tell me.
No, I am ready just to run alongside you. My whole thing was like, how do you guys do the food and beverage industry with children? I mean, it's hard. We all know I don't have kids. I find working I never wanted kids, so it all fits for me. But to watch you guys do what you do, I mean, it's exhausting.
So let's give the listeners a quick Micheline, sum it up. Give us what you own, who you are, and then we're going to go from there.
Okay, real quick without taking the entire show. I come from a restaurant family from a bazillion years ago. My parents are in the restaurant business. My grandfather, my great-grandfather, the whole immigrant jumping off the ship, starting out as a janitor and then working his way up to opening his own restaurant. I always thought that I would never go back into the restaurant business. My parents had a fine dining Spanish restaurant in Florida, and I can remember being the hostess and thinking to myself, I will never do this ever. And so I decided to go to college and get a journalism degree. And then I got a master's degree in international relations. And I thought, I'm moving to Washington, D.C., and I'm going to be a reporter, and I'm going to travel the world, and it's going to be amazing. And I got to DC because the first job offer I got was at the Canadian Embassy. And I ended up doing PR, and I loved it. And I had a knack for it, thinking about doing all these amazing outside the box events. And so I did that for a couple years. I opened my own PR company there, did a bunch of events. And then Spike, who's my younger brother, was a chef in New York working for Drew Nipperon. And Top Chef had filmed 2 seasons, and I got a call from Spike, and he said, hey, there's this show, and they're looking for chefs, and I think I should, apply. And we tried to apply for season 3. He didn't get in, but he got onto season 4. And my parents had, in the meantime, sold their restaurant in Spain and moved to Washington with nothing to do. And as Gina knows, my parents need day jobs, big time, because they're maniacs. So,
they say the nuts don't fall far from the tree.
I love Catherine and Harvey, but I will 100% attest to crazy,
full on crazy,
like on par. Go ahead.
So I was living on Capitol Hill, and I saw this shop that had gone out of business called Pulp. And I called my parents and I said, this would be a perfect restaurant. At the time, there was just these famous bars, Hawk and Dove and Tune In. And my parents got there and they said, oh my God, this space is too small. I don't think it's going to work. How are we going to do it? And so then what we decided was that, they actually said, you know what, this would be a great hamburger spot. And Spike was in New York finishing the Top Chef show. And me with my PR background decide.
I had to do it. I had to. So if I didn't crash the pod, I wouldn't be a good brother.
Hi,
exactly.
Spike, how are you?
Doing well.
Are you surfing at the beach? What are you doing?
Yeah, I wish I was surfing. It's so windy today.
I wish you was surfing too right now.
Yeah. Instead, we're day drinking, as you can see.
Duh.
Perfect.
We're doing that as well. So anyways, I'll let you guys get back to it.
Good to Spike, we'll have you on another episode.
That's
Never,
awesome.
Gina, never.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Vegan burgers, we got you. Keep going. So
Spike got off of Top Chef, and me with PR, I said, let's wait and open this restaurant till Spike's show airs on Bravo. And so it just kind of all worked out. And at the same time, the Obamas, right, were making a push and had won the presidency. And so we kind of opened Good Stuff Eatery in what I love to call is the golden age, right? The Obamas had gone into office. Spike was just off of a national television show. In DC, as Gina can attest to, and I'm sure you too can, Louise, there was no real like celebrity chefs yet. That was a thing that was just kind of percolating 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And we opened our doors, and my mother, who's a chef, is very adamant about food quality. And so we had food quality, we had national television, we had Obamas. It was all kind of working for us. And so we opened our first location on Capitol Hill, and then opened a We the Pizza, which serves pizzas and Italian sodas next door. And then as Gina said,
if you're listening to the show, she opened Good Stuff Eatery.
Yes.
That's the name of the first store.
and then
She's in PR, folks.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Gina. We the Pizza next door. And then as Gina just said, I opened a fine dining French restaurant, Bernays, because Spike wanted to be taken as a serious chef and not just a pizza and burger guy. And I got pregnant, and I thought, you know what, these late hours and all this craziness, I'm not into it. And so then we turned that into a fast casual restaurant called Santa Rosa Taqueria. And so I own those 3 stores on Capitol Hill, and we franchise them around the States and overseas, and we have 14 locations.
That's amazing. It's amazing to hear when like that tipping point, like to your point, all of those things came together and you were smart enough, obviously, to pump the brakes on it a little bit, wait for it all to catch up, and you just rode a really amazing wave. And it wasn't all by happenstance. It was your insights to know all of these things are moving, but hold on, let's just wait 2 seconds, take a breath, and let's wait. And those were brilliant insights.
We did. Thank you. We actually sat on the location, which is unheard of, for 4 months before we opened it.
Wow. Yeah, because it's lost revenue, right? I mean, it wouldn't make outsider looking in to be like, oh, that doesn't make sense. But the truth is, I applaud you for your insights. That was brilliant.
Thank you.
So when you're listening to this, are you tired yet? Are you saying, wow, that's a lot of work for a human that just had 3 humans come out of their body?
Right, right. That's just a little bit of what I do.
I feel like that's the truth. Once you have children, like it changes, like it flips. That is a little bit of what you do. And then you have these humans that 100% depend on you. And then you become this other person and you take on this persona. And like one of the reasons I wanted you to tell your stories, because I find it fascinating how you balance that lifestyle, and you go home and you have 3 kids, and you have your parents, and you're doing all that stuff, and you're traveling overseas, and you're opening franchises in Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and everywhere else. And yet my friends that are single can't seem to get someplace on time.
I mean, I still don't get to places on time, but yeah.
You have a million excuses. Here's my question to you. And people are listening, this is really it. Talk about it from the mom perspective. I want somebody to walk somebody through a day, because I think that this is what I find always more fascinating is how do you start your day? And most people don't realize this, but entrepreneurial women or people that own their own business, especially moms, wake up generally around the 4:30 hour and work until your children get up and then stop.
Yeah.
So
what is that normal look like?
Yeah, walk somebody that doesn't believe in what happens.
Right. So in normal days, when the kids get to school, that's actually when moms have a break and get to their jobs, right? So I wake up early because I try and take about 30 to 45 minutes just for myself before anybody else wakes up. And I never want to wake up. Like it's always a struggle, but it just sets me up for my day. Like I'm able to figure out a plan and see like what's going to come up. So I usually wake up about 6:30. I get the kids up, feed them, get them ready for school, make lunches. Kids don't want to wake up. That whole idea of like getting everybody out of bed, brush your teeth, get dressed, come downstairs, eat, and kind of go off to school. And then as soon as they go off to school, I usually get in my car and drive to Capitol Hill. And then starts kind of like a full work day for me. But I'm lucky in the sense that I have my own business. So if I need to run to school for a play or a doctor's appointment, or, one of the kids had an accident at school, I got to run and get them, or different clothes. I mean, the million things that come up during the day happen. But the most interesting thing that I love about restaurants, that I have to say, and that I really love about this industry, is how you're doing a million things in one day. And it's super tiring, but it keeps it exciting and fun. And I kind of love to feed off of that, even though by the time 4:00 rolls around, I'm exhausted. But so in my scenario, I have 3 kids. I have Catherine, who's 10, Bella, who's 8, and Wesley, who's 3. And so at 4:00, I'll leave. I'll go get Wesley at daycare. I'll drive into Arlington, pick him up from Capitol Hill, drop him off back at the house, where I have somebody that kind of helps me for a little bit, because then I have to go pick up my daughter, drive her to Capitol Hill because she has a dance class, right? Or the other one has like a gymnastic class. So that's what I like to call the Uber driving part of my day. For like 2 hours, I become a personal driver. And so I'm just shuffling kids from one area to the next,
How many phone calls do you take in that shuffle?
On the phone all the time, right? And like, as my son is getting his backpack on, I'm texting somebody, right? So I do that. And then I get home. And what I love about my dear husband is 9 out of 10 times he'll say, "So what's for dinner? What do you make?"
I got one of those.
What are you having? And so and I love to cook. Like, I love cooking. So I will then start dinner, right? And if the kids need homework or whatever, like, I'm helping to do that too. We get dinner going. I have gotten a little bit smarter, ladies. I do Blue Apron twice a week.
Nice.
So that comes to the house, and then I just look at my husband, Cliff, and I'm like, here you go. All the ingredients are here. I couldn't make it any easier. You just have to put it together now. And as Gina will know, sometimes that's even questionable, and I'll end up cooking. But I try and make it as easy as possible. So we try and always eat together. And that's, I have to say, the beauty of having fast casuals. I don't have a dinner service anymore, which was really killing me with Bernays, because in a fine dining restaurant, when customers are coming in, they want to see your face. They want to say hello to you. And that's usually between 6 and 9 o'clock at night, right? Which is like prime kid hour. So I'm very thankful that I don't have that scenario anymore. And so what happens is we'll do dinner. Everybody will kind of go into their own things. And then I start work again. And then my kids are like, "Why are you working?" And I'm like, "I'm now working, and you have to go to bed because it's 9 o'clock at night. And I've just spent 4 hours here, but I still have 20 more things to do on my list." And so I'll work, whether I'm on the TV or whatever it is. I'll be on the computer till about midnight.
Wow.
So
I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm tired.
When you're sitting at, so people listening to this and you're daydreaming now because you've been home with COVID for 14 weeks, and you're like, what am I going to do with the next part of my life? Think very hard if you're the kind of person that can literally navigate that much to do. And this is 24 hours. Restaurants are 365.
365. And you know what I always say to everybody that's always thinking how much fun it would be to own a restaurant? There is, there's a restaurant culture, right? And we love that. And I love that I know people in the industry and I feed off of them and that. But this is not the easiest way to make a living.
Nah. You have to be a little bit fucking crazy.
Yes. It may be, totally stupid. I mean, and the crazy part is that all of that just involves one restaurant, right? So then add all the other things like dealing with franchisees, trying to open overseas, trying to deal with a location at an airport, trying to open up in Florida. And you have, what I like to call total chaos every day. And then you have your family.
And it's really, you're right. It's a blender. You add all the ingredients and then you hit high speed, and that's what your day is like. And then all of a sudden you stop and it's time to go to bed. And you're like, how did all this just went on?
Right. And the crazier part, I'll say this, and I'm sure Gina's feeling this as well, is during the first couple weeks of COVID, I've never worked harder. It was it's been insane because it's been constant pivot and safety regulations and trying to figure out what's happening, or, okay, now we're not serving inside. So how can we do takeout? How do we wrap a burger for delivery so it's not gross and soggy, right? I mean, it's been absolutely nuts trying to figure out.
On top of that, how do you explain to your children in the midst of all of this that the world has changed?
Right.
So like how, so let's talk about how some people did this, right? So let's get your opinion on how did you tell your children they're no longer doing their shuffle, that there's a pandemic, you have to wear a mask, and they had to accept it? Because you had to have that in your house on top of trying to get the restaurants, like having your little ones go that route is terrifying.
It is terrifying. And I will say, maybe I didn't handle it in the best possible way, but,
why did you like burn their like stuff from school or something?
So the week before they shut the schools, we had 2 COVID cases in Crystal City, and my franchisee was emailing me, and my parents live in Crystal City. And so on Monday night after we got from work, I called my parents and I'm like, you're not allowed to come into work anymore, which of course, then my mother ensued with like a screaming match with me. And then I was yelling back at her and I was like, no, you're staying put. And so Tuesday rolls around and I have a daughter that has severe asthma. And of course, back then, like you weren't really sure what was affecting it. And so I kept her from home. And she was like, you're such a weird mom. You're so difficult. Why all my friends are at school, this, that, and this. So she was upset at me. And I'm like, no, both of the girls are staying home. My son, who goes to we're Greek, so he goes to a Greek daycare at the bottom of a church. I was like, you can go. I get a call Tuesday at 11:30 from the Greek daycare. And they're like, a parent was in Crystal City in the same building of the COVID thing. And so I'm like, okay, so I left work. I'd been at work for 2 hours. I leave work. I go get my son and I'm like, okay, now we're all home and I'm working from home and this is a situation and we don't know what it is. And so everybody's just staying home. And every day my oldest thought I was like the worst mom ever. And, it was just, they were fighting with me. They wanted to go to recess and they wanted to play. And why couldn't they do any of their extracurricular activities? And my philosophy of telling them about COVID, which softened, was, nope, we're staying home. We don't know what's going on. Everybody figure out what to do.
I mean,
and then so FYI, then Wednesday rolls around and guess what? I'm writing safety guidelines for franchisees, right? I'm doing updates twice a day for people on what's happening, what to do with your restaurant. I'm ordering bacterial hand wash. It just became crazy, right? We're sanitizing extra. And then the second week we're figuring out, okay, we're going to do takeout and pickup here. So like now I have to get a bunch of paper goods that I never had to get before because we never offered those services before. And so what ended up happening, to Gina's point, is the kids actually saw me working all day. And then comes the mom guilt of, no, I can't help you read because I actually have to do work. It's 11 o'clock in the afternoon, right? Or no, I can't do this. I have to figure out work issues. So I can't sit with you and do your math and I can't figure out and so it just becomes like a push and pull of how you navigate that. And then, so, I don't know for you, Gina, but what happened for me is now my day is doubly long. So, the kids are coming at me all day with their stuff. I'm trying to work. And so instead of me just being able to go to work from like 9 to 4 and come home and spend time with the kids, I'm now working from like 7, right? To like it's like an all day thing. And I don't have any time for myself.
I think, and you know what? That mom guilt is real because I feel like, and I feel like but I'm going to say it out loud. It's okay. They're going to be fine. But we're
going to be damaged.
But all of us, like, you really need to take that level of guilt off of you. And I think once you produce a human out of your body, you no longer can wipe that guilt away. You feel like you're not
it's always there.
You feel like you're not doing the right thing.
So I'm going to tell you what. The week before all this craziness started, and even before that, like for years, Gina and I participate in a ton of events, charity work. Oh, my friend's got this event. Let's go here. Let's go that. I do so many events at night. And that was all because A, I love seeing the people, but B, I was always nervous that our brand wasn't out there enough, right? So like, let's go here. Let's these people see us at this event. Let's everybody see us. And it starts to get, you stop for a minute and you're like, okay, well, I get to see the kids from like 4 to 7, and then I'm at an event. And if I'm doing that 3 nights a week, then it becomes really crazy, right? The mom guilt thing really plays into, I'm trying to make some money so these kids can do what they want and we can have nice vacations and they can, go to college if they want to go to college or whatever it is. And at the same time, I'm taking time away from them. So it's a real kind of push and pull constantly.
Yeah, I'm sure. I can't even fathom what all those other pieces are. I feel bad when my puppies don't get to go play at the park.
Take my kids with your puppies. It's fine. I just think that like, I really want people to understand it. Like, being a parent during COVID has been more difficult, I think, than really anything you could possibly do, or tell me about like taking loans, PPP, navigating safety rule, whatever it is, the adults can understand. Telling your 5 and 6-year-old, your 10-year-old that their social life is shut. They're not going to school. No, their teacher doesn't hate them. Yes, I love you, but I can't talk to you right now.
Right. And you can't have play dates.
And here, talk to your friends via Zoom. They don't understand Zoom.
No. And my kids don't like it. They're like on Zoom like a little bit, and then they're like, yeah, we're done with this. We're not doing this, which is going to be great come September when all the schools are on Zoom. I can't wait for that. I can't wait for that month, Gina. That's going to be great.
That's like my next thing. So one thing I do, I want you to like kind of like elaborate on, like, and I think is really important is if you could tell one mom out there, one mom that's listening right now and is like going to pull her hair out, what was one of the best navigational tools or something that you did for your kids that you 100% have to do like every day in order to keep them sane?
Oh, that's a great question. So my kids, I think, have like my personality, which is not a good thing, but what they do is they focus on something for a little bit and then it has to be something else. So what we've been doing is we've been like riding a wave of like, okay, we're going to bake for the next 2 weeks. And you guys go through cookbooks and you open them up and you figure out what it is that you want to bake. And after that, okay, now we're going to cook a dinner, a this, a that. Okay, now we're going to do painting. Now, so it's like every week I've had to do a different activity, but my thought would be pick one thing, go for it for a week, and then switch it up, right? Because the difference here is like you're with your kids all the time. And as sick as you are of your kids are sick of you.
Hate me.
Right? Like they're like, we're done here. They want to move on.
Full on asking me to go to New York to visit their aunts who they're normally like, I don't want to see my aunt. So I agree with you.
Right.
I was going to say the same thing, but I'm going to do the one thing that we do for each other, and that's make a drink.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That should 100% be on your list of your daytime events. There should be mom drink.
So Mish is she's at the beach right now, and she told me that she is drinking Campari and sparkling wine, Prosecco, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, that's exactly right. It's been my daily fix. I'm not going to divulge what time I start. Let's just say it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
The sun's
Let's just
up.
say it's sunny.
Sun's up. Sunny.
All right, so we're gonna make a drink. So you can use Campari for this. So basically, let me just show you. You can use Campari for this. You can use Aperol, and what we're gonna make is a version of a Venetian cocktail called the Spritz, right? So really, a Spritz is very, very simple. It's just legitimately whatever fruit, cucumbers, vegetables, scraps that you have around with Aperol or Campari, and then a sparkling Prosecco if you're in Italy, Cava if you're in Spain, Champagne if you're in France, right? So I'm going to use a Cava. You're going to use Prosecco. What are you going to use, Louise?
I have, hold on, let me see. Champagne.
Champagne? Yes. Fabulous. So
because the reality is, who doesn't want to be in France or Italy right now?
I mean, sure. I know. I'd rather be there now than here, for sure. Yeah. All right, so what are you going to use? Are you going to use Aperol or a Campari, Louise?
I have Aperol.
Okay. So, and you're using, all right, so this is the only variation. If you're going to use Campari in this drink, you're going to use 3/4 of an ounce If you're going to use Aperol, you're going to use 1 ounce.
Why is that, Gina?
Just the bitter, so Campari is a little bit more bitter than Aperol.
I love this sound.
Okay? So
Gina's being professional. I like to just pour.
I have to measure.
So Gina, as she is being a real bartender.
I'm sorry, Gina, we're mixing right into the glass. I missed that part. There we go.
Sorry, hold it, Andrew.
My instructions are like, go till here.
Okay, go to here.
All right,
Just go to here.
Now you have your Campari or Aperol on the bottom of the glass. Now this is actually the most important thing that we're going to do, and it's called cocktail decorating. All right.
Okay.
So what I have here is strawberries, cucumbers, and this drink is really great when you layer it. Okay. So in there, I already put some strawberries, and I'm going to put some cucumbers, and I'm going to leave it right. Then I'm going to take a little bit of ice.
Okay, my
And
strawberries.
I'm going to put some ice in the drink, right?
My
Now I'm going to take, I don't know, I had an orange. I'm going to put some more strawberries, cucumber,
Oh, I love
and
this.
then a lemon, okay? So basically, I'm making a cocktail parfait. And now I'm going to put some more ice. And you're like, well, where's the champagne? We're going to get to that, right? So I'm going to put that in there.
You need a prep cook for this one.
You don't need a prep cook for this one. So now you're going to
Hey,
take...
where's Spike?
You're going to take your
should show up now.
your champagne, whatever you want, and you're going to fill it up, right?
Was I supposed to put ice back on top, Gina, or is it
Yes,
just
you can, and then it might fizzle over just a little bit just because I went too fast. Just go nice and slow and it won't spill over. And you're gonna put it in, right? So now you have this gorgeous layered cocktail. You have to do the ice in a little bit in segments, otherwise it will 100% spill. And then you're just gonna decorate the top, and you can put whatever you like. And I'm gonna do, make sure you can see it because that's a little higher. A little bit of cucumber, the lemon, and put that on there. And then you basically have a nice little Venetian sunrise, if you will. All right.
Oh, how pretty.
Now, let's put our straw in there, and then we have our cocktail. All right. Oh, you look pretty. Cheers. So what do we think?
I think it's delicious.
Louise?
I think I could drink this all day long.
The best thing about this cocktail is the fact that when the water starts to get a little bit watered down, it gets a little bit more, like not as pungent on the bitter and more sweet on the other side. But you don't need
I like the
sugar.
bitter taste.
Yeah. But you don't need any more sugar or anything else in that cocktail. That cocktail is perfect just the way it is. Just like
I love it. And it's just, to me, this cocktail just speaks summertime, right? I'm just picturing myself on a beach in Positano, on the cliffs or something, or on the south of France, no children.
That brings me to the next point. The reason why I love this cocktail so much, honestly, is because if you have your kids and you do something with them, it's a very easy cocktail to adopt into them making themselves their own ice and fruit and vegetable parfait. And then they can just put a little bit of soda water or flavored soda water in there. And you might trick your children into having fruit or vegetables or cucumbers or carrots or whatever, because they made it and they'll eat it and they'll drink it. And, we all need to figure out clever ways as moms to get those things in our children's bodies. It's very easy to give them ice cream.
That's true.
Very hard to get a vegetable in there.
Could you not just let them eat the fruit out of your cocktail so then they take a nap
I
too?
mean,
That always works.
if this was 1900, I'd be like, here's your shot of whiskey for the day. Have a good night.
In Italy, they still,
That's why they live La Vita Bella, right? So
Yes, that's exactly right.
all right, Louise.
So no, we have to tell everyone where they're gonna go, Gina. We got a little housekeeping. Where they're gonna go to get this cocktail as well as all the other cocktails from every show before this. Where they get your tips and tricks.
They're gonna go to designateddrinker.show.
Wait, where?
They're gonna go to designateddrinker.show for all of my tricks on how to cut perfectly symmetrical oranges and other things.
Oh,
Love it. Oh God.
It's in your guys'
That's a
blood.
hack job, Micheline.
listen, Gina.
So we have one more question.
I had a serrated knife.
Are we
Yeah,
ready,
of
Louise?
course. You could ask as many questions.
All right, so now here's the real trick. Do you actually listen to our show?
I did listen to your show. Boom,
Okay,
boom,
so then
boom.
the last question. So the last question is, in this day and age, especially if you have children, everybody identifies themselves.
Can I just stop you for a minute?
Yes.
It would be truly horrible if I got on the show and never listened to the show. That would make me a complete idiot. So I did listen to the show late at night when everybody was asleep. And so you pushed my bedtime back a couple hours. But now please go ahead.
All right. So in this day and age when everybody identifies themselves with some spirited animal, and because you have children, it might be a magical narwhal for you, and it has polka dots and it lives under the sea, and then every now and again it can speak above the water.
Where the hell does this come from?
If you were
That's a great animal.
If you were a spirit ingredient.
Oh, a spirit ingredient. Yes.
And one ingredient can define your spirit, what would you be and why?
I had to think long and hard about this, ladies. And I went with, well, I had a few, obviously, but the one I had a few, and being of Greek background, right? It was really hard to pin me down to one ingredient. But I ended up going with, one of my favorite things to make for my kids is Mexican hot chocolate. And I love putting a little bit of the chili powder in there because I feel like it's soothing, but a little spicy.
I love
and
that.
That's kind of my personality.
Soothing and spicy.
Soothing and spicy. Yeah.
Cliff, I hope that you're listening to that because that means number 4 could be on the way. Who knows?
No, never, never. That's a hard no.
Well, you know, Gina, she did have a long break between 2 and 3.
Exactly,
you never know what could happen with you.
You never know.
Listen, don't rub my lamp, all right?
Listen,
no surprises coming here.
I will say this. 3 for any moms that are listening that have 3 kids or are even thinking of a third. They are cute, yes. But 3 will push you over the edge. Like with 2, you're kind of on a cliff and you're hanging on and you're like, this kind of seems okay. As they get older, we'll be good to go. Then you have your third and it just skyrockets. It's a slow. And now you're just every day, you're like, I'm holding on for dear life. I can never get a footing. It never happens. So 2, Gina's still in that zone because hers are young, but it'll get so much better for her. But then you add the third and it's like, wow, not smart.
I love that advice. That's going to be every time we do a mom.
So there's a struggle and it's real. And moms with 2 children have it, but moms with more than 2 children have it. If your day is completely chaotic and nothing is working out, that's normal. You're good. You're a great mom. You're a great mom.
Well, cheers to being a great mom.
Cheers to being a great mom.
Cheers.
The mothers of all mothers.
Micheline, enjoy your vacation. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me. I love you ladies and I love your show. So it's been a real honor.
Bye, my love.
Thanks.
The Designated Drinker Show is produced by Missing Link, a podcast media company dedicated to connecting people to intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Missing Link is a proud partner of Hearing Charities of America, a nonprofit organization that supports those who are deaf or hard of hearing. To learn more about HCOA or to find out about Missing Link's other podcasts, head over to missinglink.company. That's missinglink.company.